All right. Thank you for tuning in to KBOB 89.9. This is the Black Love Club. And guess what, y'all? I know y'all probably looking at this viewing like, where's Nikki? Normally, Nikki Talks open us up, but nah.
Yeah, it's a different person, on the open. We ain't used to that.
Not today. So today it's just the fellas we kicking it. So, we got Richard Roots and
Agri Prime.
Agafam.
Hey,
Hey,
we in
we
the
in here.
house.
We in here, and today's topic is what women don't understand about men.
Mm.
So I figured that was no greater topic to discuss. So we don't have no news portion today, y'all. So we just getting right into the nitty gritty, y'all. We getting straight to it.
So you decided to bring up this topic when your wife ain't here. I see what you're doing. That was real clever.
Yeah, I feel like what is it's the men today, so
Mm-hmm.
we need a topic just for the men.
You know what?
You
I
know,
agree.
and then next week maybe we could talk about what men don't know about women. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
So I got a question.
All right. Shoot your question.
So what's one thing that women assume incorrectly about men? And I can start first if you want me to. Would you?
Well, I'm gonna say mine. I want you to say yours, and then after you've said yours, you're welcome to have me elaborate on mine if need be. So, that we date you for your personality.
Oh,
Just throwing it out there. That we attracted to, we approach you because we interested in your personality.
women think that?
I, they firmly do. For quite a few.
I would say I don't know a single woman.
Oh, hey, Nikki. She in the chat. She just didn't come in.
Oh, Nikki said I'm a sneak up in here. But
Oh, she heard us talking about her.
I would say another one. I think women, and it's a big one. So I think women think that men don't know how to communicate, and I know that's a big one. So the reason,
I'm sorry, just so I understand. So are you saying that they assume men don't know how to communicate?
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, most women would say, men don't know how to communicate, and I get it. I get it. I think um, I think men just communicate differently.
Okay. All right.
So when a woman is saying, men don't know how to communicate, what they're really saying is that we don't know how to communicate like them.
Correct.
You know, because when it comes to men, like we don't have a problem expressing our feelings towards another man. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm hurt, you're gonna know. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Um, we may not express ourselves the same way to women because we don't have to go that deep when we're communicating with each other.
And I think we're better at compartmentalizing. Like we we live in a little bit of a different space. Like
Mm-hmm.
world is different from for the as men grow up and as women grow up. And so we understand that at the end of the day, nobody really cares. At the end of
Mm.
the day, this is your problem. This is your life. These are your circumstances. You got to deal with it. That's not to say people won't empathize or sympathize with you, but in a general sense, nobody really cares about your situation the way that you do. So, given that, we are less apt to overshare because we know that most people don't really care.
Right.
But I'm sure you have and I've as well have very deep conversations, with our brothers. But it's just a time and a place for that. Not every situation, requires that depth of a conversation.
Yeah, that's precisely it. Like I noticed like when a woman communicates her offense, she can give a whole lot more details.
Mm-hmm.
and women see those details as useful for you to understand them.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily wrong. But when men communicate, our offense, we don't think that the details are important. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm offended. I expect you to just validate the fact that I'm offended and deal with the situation versus me giving you the context. Wherein a woman is more in tune with her feelings, so she can express, why it offended her in a way better than a man.
Hmm. I don't know if I could go so far as to say better. I think it's again is just a different kind of a thing because I think the way I often look at things is that if you can get the same point across with less words, the one that used the fewest words is the most effective. But I also understand that using as few words as possible isn't always the most effective way to handle a situation. So I just think it just kind of really depends on the circumstance and who you're talking to. I think men just tend to take a more direct way of confronting the thing. But and we don't spend a lot of time trying to paint a story for we don't really want you to victimize us. We just want you to acknowledge the very real circumstance we are bringing up to you. In our mind, in our thought process, oftentimes it's if it was me, you would know how much this had to bother me for me to take the time to address it with you
Mm-hmm.
and not just, blow it off or you just move on about my life. So I think at times we almost assume our women understand that. And I don't think that they necessarily do.
Right. I think that's why this is a good show topic because we need to discuss. I've always said that our problem is that we think we understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that false expectation that does so much damage in our relationships between a man and a woman because we think we understand each other. And right now we basically clear the air. So I have another question.
Okay. Hey, Barbara.
How you doing, Miss Barbara? Um, Another question is, do you think that men hide their emotions?
100%.
Do you want to leave me with that? Why?
Okay. All right. All right. So now that you asked the question, I think it's a number of reasons. We have to do it because in many ways we are conditioned to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you know, um, we mentioned, and I told you in my book, I'm one of the first things I talk about is men shouldn't fall in love, and it's because we're emotionally volatile. Well, one thing young men have to learn at an early age is we can't walk around with our emotions on our shirts, on our shoulders, up front and exposed, because it is the easiest way for somebody to manipulate you is for someone to be able to press and manipulate your emotions and thus have a way of controlling you. So I think as men, we grow accustomed to. Poker is all about that. We grow accustomed to having to um, withhold our emotions or suppress them to a certain degree, just as a protection mechanism.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny if men are hiding their emotions as a protection mechanism, then this would also explain why our communication don't look the same as a woman
Uh,
because a lot of communication is like emotional.
I don't know.
A
Let's
lot
see.
of
Most communication is
women,
is is nonverbal.
that's true. That's true. I'm talking about verbal communication though.
But I mean, what do you mean it's emotional though? Like where you drawing that
When I'm
from?
differentiating men and women, like
Okay. Yes. Yes. You're
when
right.
women talk, yeah.
They're more talking about from how they feel,
Hmm.
and we're more talking about usually, what we're thinking.
Right. And that's like what you're saying, like the protection mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Got another question.
Okay. All right. Shoot at me. Hey, Mickey Minnie. I see you in there. Oh, April, I see you.
Do you think that women understand how men love?
Mm, like on the surface or just like in general?
In general, because I think that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed about men. I noticed that men communicate differently,
Mm-hmm.
and men we love differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because we communicate differently and we love differently, it creates problems and friction in our relationships.
Yeah, it does create some friction there. So I would say I don't. Best way I could explain it is that I think a woman who has had experience with love and affection from a man, particularly a father, understands what that feels like. But I don't think that a woman who's never experienced that has an understanding of what that is.
Mm.
I think is kind of difficult for I would imagine it to be difficult for them to kind of conceptualize what that love looks like because it's so foreign to how they think and operate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. So I would say that like the difference between how a man loves and how a woman loves is like uh, men we love by what we do.
Yeah.
You
Action
know,
word.
right? It's action for us, and we expect women to love by what they do.
Hmm.
You know, versus a woman. I think my volume went out.
Yeah. There you go. It's
There we
back.
go. I'm back in. All right. So I think what the way that women expect men to love is like their form of love, which is their form of love is more of how you make them feel, right? It's what you say to them. You know, how do you make them feel? Um, versus men, we just like, man, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? That's how I define love. That's how we define love. But when you bring two different people together and they see love differently,
Hmm.
of course it's going to bring some friction because it's like sometimes you're going to be like, I'm not seeing that love. You know what I'm saying? But you are seeing it. You just need to see how that person defines love.
And I think that just kind of goes to the transactional state of relationships nowadays, where people are going into the relationships thinking about, well, I bring this to the table, so I'm expecting this.
Hmm.
And most of the time when we project onto the opposite sex, we're usually projecting thoughts or perspectives from our current side of the fence.
Hmm.
Either male, masculine, however you want to describe it, when I don't think that's really what the goal is. Like the goal was never for me to get an equivalent amount out of you that I feel like I'm bringing. I think the goal was always that I find someone who loved me in a way that I appreciated and, um I was drawn to that, helped made me feel good in almost like a selfish way. I've always thought love was an external internal activity.
Hmm.
So you're looking basically for a woman who's going to love you in a way that is going to in a way that you appreciate, and then you are seeking to love them in the way
Right.
that you're comfortable with, and that in a way that they would reciprocate as well.
Right.
So it's less about being equal as much as you giving your best to that other person.
Right. And Mickey Minnie said, I think they do. That's why a lot of women go into a relationship ready to change a man. Or at some point in that relationship, they try to change that man or train him. And I think that's why I think it's important for women to understand men, the
Hmm.
nature of a man, how a man function. And I also think it's important for a man to understand a woman, the nature of a woman and how a woman function so that we can know how we can coexist without trying to change that person. And I think that's why a lot of times, and I say this a lot, I think this why a lot of times women would say, when a man complains about a woman so much, um, you must not like women.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this is the nature of a woman. Some things we do have to embrace, because that's a part of the nurturing woman that we love. Like if she's gonna be a nurturing woman, then I think it's complimentary that she is emotional, and everything is centered around feelings. But that's why men aren't that emotional. I mean, that's why men aren't that nurturing, because everything is not centered around feelings. It's more so about logics. That's why, he fell down, get up. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because we're thinking logically. If I nurse him, he's gonna always depend on me to nurse him. If I tell him to get up, then he developed the courage, he developed the confidence, he developed the strength to always rise up whenever he fall.
Right.
So it creates a really good balance. So when a woman tries to change a man and say, you know what, you need to be more nurturing, he needs you to kiss his wounds. No, that's what you were there for.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us shouldn't be down on the ground on our knees kissing his wounds, talking about, oh, daddy, kiss your bobo. Now we both of us doing that, then what happens to that grunt that he needs? What happens to, that getting up when he falls down? What
Right.
happens to that building of confidence that he needs, when those things arise?
No, I completely agree with you. To kind of express it a different way. I've thought that men and women are the inverse of each other.
Hmm.
And so, in one of those ways, women tend to be more self-directed because if you think about it, women are usually more focused or interested in people in those particular relationships. And as a consequence of that, they tend to they tend to live self-directed, self-focused lives. That's why delusion is oftentimes thrown in the direction of women because they live very self-directed lives. And I believe there's a biological and necessary functions for that. It's just can get crazy if it's left unchecked. But when you bring up this dynamic about it, I think I've thought this, and we talked about this a while back, that I thought that those debate shows kind of put women in a bad spot because it kind of put women in the situation where they weren't tactically versed in very well.
Hmm.
Because I think it's natural for most women when they hear a critique about women to almost take it personal. Whereas in that type of arena, the main thing you're doing is separating yourself from the conversation. So I think that that's one of the main differences between men and women, and why those debates and conversations tend to blow up in the way that they do, because it's really hard, I think, on the as a woman naturally to separate herself from the conversation. Whereas men, we're even when we're told to get up, it's really not about us. It's about, well, how is everybody else going to look at you? How
Mm.
is somebody going to be able to depend on you? How is somebody going to be able to trust you? What are you going to be able to accomplish if you give up when things get hard? So we're constantly having to think about the world and things outside of ourselves, so we don't really get to be the central focus.
Y'all, I'm distracted because this woman that I've been crushing on for about 16 years just messaged me in the chat.
Oh, I'm gonna tell Nikki.
She said, "Hey, Richard Roots." Y'all, it's Nikki Kelly. Don't don't come for me. It's Nikki Talks. Shout out to my woman Nikki Talks. But so I had another question.
Mhm.
So what would you say lives in a man's mind? Because right now we really trying to give women the opportunity to really understand men on another level. What
Okay.
you think lives in a man's mind most of the time? Why you thinking? I'm I'm gonna say mine.
Why
So
you
I
asked me
think.
on the radio show? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
Wait a second.
dang. Okay. Yeah, his answer is clearly different from mine.
Wait, what was your answer? What was your answer?
Responsibility.
Yeah, your answer was definitely different than mine.
Responsibility.
Go into why you say responsibility.
Because I think, from you, there was so much pressure on a young man to own up to his responsibility. Which is one of the reasons I believe that men take so much accountability.
Mm.
Mature men, I'm gonna say mature men take so much accountability. But even as a child, when anything went wrong, um, and it's funny too because I grew up in a household that was um matriarchal. I said that right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So
I wasn't expecting you to go this direction, but go
so
ahead. It's getting juicy.
but when anything happened, I knew. Oh, she said it stopped talking. Miss Barber, can you hear me now? But so I grew up in a house where when anything went wrong,
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather was the one to fix it, right?
Right.
And so much to the point where it scared me to become a man. Like I was terrified. I was like, I saw how well my grandfather was with handling conflict.
Mm-hmm.
That I looked at myself at the small age I was, and I said, "Man, those are some big shoes to fill."
Right.
So when something happens, if the car breaks down, I got to be the one to fix it or come up with a solution. When somebody in the family is hurt, you know, I need to be the one to show up or come up with a solution. Um, my grandfather was also the prayer warrior, like he still is. He's praying for everybody, it's to the point where we know, at 6 o'clock, don't bother him. He's praying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he's praying for a long time. Um, but he always held so much responsibility. You know, I carry that so much to the point where whenever I solve a big problem, even like the dishwasher went out, 2 nights ago, and it was late at nighttime. If you know me, I don't like doing nothing at night. But I was like, oh, it's my time to handle my responsibility. But as a man, I'm not afraid of responsibility anymore like I was when I was a child. Because after accomplishing so much, after finishing so many tasks, I'm like, I got this. Even to the point where, there's financial things that come up. Even if I don't have it at the moment, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay. No, no. I mean, I think that's pretty spot on. Responsibility is definitely high up there. Now that I've had a chance to kind of collect my thoughts, I'd say pressure.
Mm.
I think pressure is a big one that's constantly on the forefront of a man's mind because there's really pressure coming from a number of different sources on
Mm-hmm.
men. We we not only have the pressure of being competitive amongst our peers, um, but we also have the pressure of being desirable. We have the pressure of being successful. We have the all one thing I learned growing up is that as a man, you have to provide value in order to almost justify why you're in a room. There's not a lot of spaces you get to go into where you're just kind of accepted because you're a nice genuine person. Like you have to bring something to the table. You have to provide some sort of a measure of value.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that there's a constant pressure of fighting the mental battle you're doing as well. A bad habit I used to sit on this side. But all right, so can you guys hear us now? I'm seeing chats here, but
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at that too. I think we're Ms. Barber saying we're back on now.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But Just messed up my whole train of thought. But
Y'all
in essence,
cannot see
it's
the
a
punchline, but the joke is in the office, and
yeah, it is, but it is about pressure, and there's just a number of different places that pressure is coming from, and it is something to be mindful of. It's part of why we hide or withhold our emotions. As part of the way that we handle things the way that we do, because there is a constant pressure and things we got to be mindful of.
right. Right. Now, one of the biggest things, yo, what's up, Corey Alexander? Just thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you tuning in. Please jump in the chat. Speak your mind too, man. We're talking about what women don't understand about men, and you came at the perfect time, man, because I got another one.
All right.
So, what do you think that men value most? Most top of the list. Hey, you can give me your top three if you want to, but I'm
in,
gonna give you my top one.
in terms of what? In terms of like women, in terms of life.
From women.
Oh, from
I'm
women.
I'm happy you asked me to clarify. So from women, what do you think that men want the most from women? Hey, that's from everybody. Hey, women
Oh,
too. Hey, I want to hear from you guys as well.
okay. The most. Again, you asking me on the radio show. So I would say the most. Stop messing with the sound effects. All right. I would say the most thing that they want is it's a combination of admiration
No, no,
and
no, no, no. I'm sorry, I didn't clarify. No, what do you
what
think that?
men want. What
Yeah, yeah,
men
yeah,
want.
yeah, yeah.
My bad. My bad. I was getting ready to answer that. So they want a combination of admiration and to be needed. Like I think as men, we have a need to feel validated
Mm,
in many ways, to
mm,
have our existence matter to somebody other than just ourselves, or let's say, the family we were born into. In many ways, your family is supposed to love you, but we want our existence to matter and be appreciated by somebody other than that. So I would say that's probably the top thing. After that, um, obviously, is more than likely going to be the cheeks, and then the third thing is going to be family in most cases. Like I just slid it in there.
dang, I was trying to get
You
this.
wasn't even ready.
I wasn't ready for
You
it,
wasn't
man. I
ready.
wasn't ready. But those were good. Those were good. Tonette said, what Mickey Minnie said, self-respect. Um, Tonette said, protected. Are you saying that women want to be protected, or are you saying that men want to be protected by women? And Miss Barber said, understanding. Hey, I agree. Hey, that's why we doing this show right now, because understanding could strengthen our relationship on so many levels. But one of the things that I would say is, I think Mickey Minnie was saying the same thing. Respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Respect is definitely high.
because we need that.
Absolutely.
Um, I love what you said, Prime. That's high on my list too. Uh, you said validated, and didn't you say needed? Did you say
Yes. Yeah.
needed?
It's
Right,
it's
right.
a combination of being admired and being needed.
Hmm.
That's kind of what we're looking for.
Right. So men, we need that. We have a need to be needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how we feel validated. You know what I'm saying? So why that's so important is because we just was like, man, one of our posts is like going crazy right now. And it was from the show that we talked about, are women too independent for love, right?
Oh, that was a good show.
Oh man, it upset a lot of people. But we talked about how uh, when a woman says that she's independent, she's basically saying she don't need a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the problem with the friction that comes with a woman saying that she don't need a man or she's independent is that the man perceives it as he's not needed.
Exactly.
Now, who wants to be in a relationship where they don't feel needed? You know what I'm saying? Like, who wants to be on a job where you don't feel needed? So if you're on a job and you don't feel needed, then you don't have job security.
Mm-hmm.
You are like what Beyonce say, to the left,
Okay.
you're
Irreplaceable.
you're replaceable. No, I think
Irreplaceable.
hers is irreplaceable, but you get it. You're replaceable. If you don't have a need, if you're not needed, then you're replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
But
Or
it,
better or worse, you're expendable.
you're expendable, right?
Yeah. Mickey Minnie chimed in. She said that saying men want she was saying that men want their women to have self-respect. And I would agree with you, Mickey Minnie. However, I think of that as more of like a standard. Like we don't want a woman who lacks self-respect. Not so much that that would be like a top quality if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you're gonna buy a used car, you don't want to go buy a car that has a ton of miles on it. But low mileage is also not gonna be the top reason you buy the car. Does that make sense? Are you agree with me on that?
Yeah, it makes sense. And Tonette said both. Um, there is a sense to being protected. It sounds honestly, it sounds weird, for a man to say, I want to be, I want to feel protected by my woman, but I think there's a way that a man could feel unprotected by his woman.
Oh,
That would
absolutely.
be that would be problematic.
Oh yeah, I've been in relationships with women that I had to distance myself from because I realized that they didn't care enough about me to be concerned about my safety.
Hmm.
And so I felt that they were putting me in situations that if I played the part that they were scripting for me, that it would negatively impact me, whether I hurt somebody, went to jail, or I possibly got killed. And so, yeah, no, there's definitely an era of, a woman who's not protecting you 100%.
Y'all, I'm about to shout because April said an answer that I didn't know I wanted to say. She said nurturing. Now
Nurturing.
this the thing. We love for our women to be nurturing towards us.
Mm-hmm.
You
100%.
know, I don't know if women know this. Maybe women do understand this, but some women clearly don't because when when you remember I told you about a topic that I wanted to talk about. You was like, how you want to take that, and I asked you, um, should women love their sons like their husbands, right?
Oh yeah,
So
because
I
you was
was
trying to
only
put me in a
talking about
corner.
no, I was only talking about the nurturing aspect
Mm-hmm.
of that. Because I think a lot of women don't understand that. That man wants that nurturing woman as well. Because this is the thing. You nurture your son
Mm-hmm.
and he grows up loving that version of his mother. He goes out and he searches for a woman like his mother.
Mm-hmm.
He finds that woman, she's nurturing, but she's only nurturing to her son. But for him, she's like, oh, he's a grown man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we're not saying that men are looking for women to, bathe them and do all of this stuff. On occasions that may be nice.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're just sneaking them in today. All right. Cool.
We sneaking them in. Is men. We men.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But don't don't withhold like your nature, or don't withhold that nurturing aspect of you
Mm-hmm.
from your husband,
Right.
because he feels love when he received that. That's another way you validate him.
We were, kind of when we were talking about this topic. One thing I brought up is that if we're gonna go with this, if we're gonna go with the structure of that the woman finds a competent a quality man to follow, that in many ways, like if you're in a corporate environment, once you get to a certain place, you realize that the only real way to start getting tangible value and to keep moving forward is you have to identify what the person you're reporting to is wanting. What is it that they are searching for? What is it their metrics are? And then you want to do your best to make them look good, to make sure they hit their metrics, to make sure you're giving them what they want. And what in turn happens is they return that favor and it goes downhill. What I think is happening more and more is that because we connect differently, I think that in these relationships, I think our women from time to time will get to a place where they feel like their needs are not being met.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to say that that is wrong, right, or indifferent, but their needs are not being met. And so they try to withhold pouring into the man with the hopes that he's gonna see them not being their needs not being met and then proceed to meet them. The problem with that is that he is going to connect with you physically, not through those things. And so you end up really kind of cutting off the well and then further distancing each other from further apart. So now you're
Mm.
starting to let resentment build in between the two of you,
Mm.
which is getting you further and further away from your problem. Or more often than not, if you were to feel like, hey, I'm not getting the attention I want, for instance, instead of going to complain to him about that, try and just nurture him a little bit and
Mm.
then try and get whatever and then work on getting the attention that you're craving. Because more often than not, if you pour into him, he's gonna pour back into you. That's just how men typically operate.
I think that was a rewind request. He said, if you nurture your husband, he will return the favor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that'll fix a lot of our problems. Corey Alexander, thank you for tuning in again. He said, men want to feel like they are wanted. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to tell you, women, I'm going to tell you a secret. INDEPENT. Do you know what that mean? On dang house lost out big string. If a man is like that excited about you having your own stuff, it's because he don't want to do nothing for you.
Exactly.
He don't want to do nothing for you. That man ain't trying to marry you.
Right.
He just like, hey, if she got all her own stuff, then it's easy for me to get what I want out of her because she don't need me for nothing.
100%.
So when a man says, I don't want you to be independent, why are you mad? He's like, I want to take care of you. I want to be able to pour into you. I want to be able to buy you nice things.
But to do that, she's got to trust you.
Right.
And if she didn't have a father, she's never experienced what that masculine love looks like. And all she has to go off of is her relationship experience as well as her perception of love and how she loves. And she is like I believe in a never-ending cycle of hoping to get that kind of love back, but in a male's body. And that's not how men operate. And worse off is that even if she was to get a man she found attractive and was to get him to show her love and affection the way that she wants it, she's gonna get turned off by the man because it's not the same. We value different things in each other. That's where the balance is. That's how we complete each other. So I think that's really why that kind of goes left the way it does.
Right.
Hey, this is a little bit of a different show, different speed.
It is. It is. Nikki talked said, I love this conversation. And Miss Barber said that's a different show. LOL.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I know what she was talking about. That is a different show. I hope I don't get in trouble for that.
yeah. Uh-huh.
But what women? What else don't women understand about men? I'm trying to spill all the tea. I'm trying to give it
Like
to y'all,
all the
lay it
tea?
out. All
Like
the
all the
tea.
tea?
All the tea. The better they understand us, the better we can get along. Cause look, hey, when it's the women's turn, I want them to spill all the tea. Go
Mm.
ahead, tell us everything, like what y'all feel like men don't understand about y'all. Cause I got some stuff that I feel like we don't understand about women, but
So I'll throw this one out there. I don't think women are as good of friends as they like to think that they are. And most of the women I've talked to, they don't keep a lot of female friends because they have numerous reasons as to why they don't keep them. Yet these very same women seem to feel very confident in believing that they are good friends, even though they are also women. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't think women are good friends.
wait, wait, this is what women don't understand about men. Well, I guess what you're saying is what women don't understand about men is we think that women don't aren't good friends.
Right. Like in terms of like the way that me and you view and value friendship is not the same.
It's not. That's good. That's another thing I want to touch on. So as far as like bonding time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So men, we look like me and you, like sometimes we go to Tisdale Cigar Lounge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could like I don't know what you could describe a good time as a woman. What a woman could describe a good time is, but for a man, like just chilling at Tisdale's Cigar Lounge,
Mm-hmm.
whether I smoke something or not, you
Right.
know, me and you just chilling. I feel like we have a good time.
hundred
You
percent.
know what I'm saying? We don't even have to talk much. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Sometimes we'll talk a lot. Sometimes we won't talk very much.
It's a good
Yeah,
time.
it's a good time.
One of my friends, we used to Larry Cook, he's in New Orleans. We used to just when we ain't have nothing to do, I just go over there by him. We watch movies. I kid you not. We would watch the movies, watch a few movies. After that, go home. We ain't said a word.
It talked about nothing. Like
Good movie.
they got that one. I saw one reel, and she was like, "So your friend's getting married this weekend? Oh yeah, yeah. So how long they been dating? I don't know. What's his wife's name? I have no idea." And she's like, what the wedding colors is? Not currently, but I'm sure we'll figure out what when we get to the wedding. And so she's going like through all of these questions, and she's like, "How can you say you're friends with this person and you don't know all of these things?" And I think that kind of goes into the difference in how men view
Yeah,
that kind of bond in that
yeah.
relationship. And because a lot of that stuff is not relevant. Like, I really don't need to know what your wife's name is.
Hmm.
I don't really need to know how long y'all have been dating unless there was a reason for you to bring that up in conversation.
Sometimes we don't know how old each other are. We just like, hey,
Sometimes it's something like, man, I'm pretty sure he old. But I've also ran across the guy that I could have swore was, maybe a few years older than me, and he was 60.
hmm.
Insane.
Miss Barber said women do that too. Some women do that as well, but it's not. I think that causes friction between men and women sometimes because women want to spend quality time,
Yeah.
and the definition of quality time for women is different. More often it's different from how men see quality time. So we really don't have to do anything. So I'm saying that because if women could understand that, sometimes just you being in your husband's space
Mm-hmm.
is like quality time to him, then you would know that if you want to connect with your husband, it don't always have to be a lot. You could just watch a movie with him, watch football with him, watch a boxing match with him. He's gonna feel like, man, he had the time of his life with his wife. And then if he talks about it with his friends, he's gonna be like, man, I had the time of my life with my wife. What y'all did? We watched the game together. They gonna understand. Now you bring that same conversation to the women.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I had the time of my life with my husband. What'd you do? We watched the game together. And what else? Did y'all play the game? I mean, did y'all make a game of y'all own? But it is different. And I think that's good for men to know that we're different in that area as well, because when we are trying to be intentional about spending quality time with our wives, um, we need to speak their language. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, hey, you watched the game with me the other day. I know you don't typically like games like that. You know, my wife does that. You know, she
Hmm.
watch, boxing with me sometimes, Um, I'm starting to think she like boxing now. I don't even know anymore because it looked like she genuinely enjoyed, because
Hmm.
she spends quality time with me like that.
Right.
So in return, I have to spend quality time with her. And it's funny, like quality time with her, sometimes it's like a lot of quality time with her really involves the kids. It's like going to the park.
Hmm.
You know, I can tell you a lot of quality time things that my wife does, men typically don't like doing, so you don't see men there. But
Okay.
um it's necessary.
Yeah, no, I think it is important to pour into to your partner. You're gonna have different interests if you're, especially if you're masculine and feminine, you're gonna have different appeals. So it's natural, and I also think it's healthy that oftentimes that if the woman does admire the man, that she does, spend time engaging in his hobbies and his activities, because that is going to help give her a way to kind of further ingratiate herself with you, as
Hmm.
opposed to just, kind of being there. But I think it also goes to speak to, men. When you understand men, we don't need as much of the, the mouth thing, the talking thing.
Hmm.
We can appreciate being in the presence of each other without necessarily needing to talk. And so I think at times women can struggle with that quiet space. They feel like they need to fill the air with words. And so that's part of it. And then I think just in terms of like men and women being friends, it's a slippery slope, because on one side, women can get a lot of their needs met in a friendship, whereas a man cannot through a platonic friendship. So it can really end up in a very one side, one person being used kind of mindset. I think the really only way it works is is if it's a situation where the man has the kind of opportunity, or the stance to kind of turn down um uh um the bedroom.
Hmm.
I don't know why I had so many things coming to mind. I was like, man, I don't know which one I could say. But so I think that's the really only dynamic in which it works. But even then, it can get a bit messy. I think in general it's not always that great.
Yo, I was over here struggling because our engineer is out today. I was trying to April. I didn't forget about prime time. I was over here trying to figure out how to cue his music. So I didn't figure out how to cue his music. So
Nikki, don't be going long.
I
I need my music.
I think I'm gonna go with this. Don't talk about me. It is
You,
prime time.
you know what? I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it.
Ah. So also because I'm not the engineer, y'all, I do not know how to put this up on the
All
screen,
right, so
but
just
this
read it.
I'm gonna read it. This is his post of the day. Put it back on me. You keep for someone said you keep forgiving someone until you unlove them. I felt that.
Okay, good. So speaking up on the conversation of what women don't understand about men, this follows directly into that. In that, the thing about men and is that men love authentically. They really love the actual woman herself. Good, bad, and different. So when we make the point to say that we love you and you have a man of character, he actually means that your good things and your bad things. And we understand more often than not what truly being alone actually feels like. Because there are some dark places that you'll go as a man where there is no one there. There's nobody in your phone that you can call to help you out of this situation. You can find yourself in situations where you get help from someone and you find out later on that they were not helping you. They were part of the problem. You'll experience betrayal, you'll experience loss, you'll experience disappointment. All of these things will begin to kind of shape you as a person and as an individual. And so when going through a relationship, when a man finds a woman that meshes with him, that they vibe with, that they can see a future with, he's really oftentimes going to go to the furthest extent to try and continue and preserve that relationship. There's a saying that says that women will sacrifice their families for their happiness, men will sacrifice their happiness for their families. And so what happens a lot in those relationships is you'll start to see that man slowly kind of remove piece after piece after piece of himself. When he's rejected, when he does not get an opportunity to kind of express himself, if he doesn't feel like he's appreciated, if he doesn't feel like he's respected. Just think about someone saying to you, "Hey, don't try and tell me what to do. I'm an independent woman. The only thing you could be independent of is a man. So what am I doing here? Telling me that you can do it all by yourself. Like, where does that place your man at?" But what happens over
Mm.
time is he's going to shrink until he either no longer recognizes who he is, or he feels like you're turning him into someone he no longer wants to be. And at that point, the cutoff is going to be sharp, is going to be severe, and there's not going to be a road back. Because with men, they will love you. The thing about men is that we will love you so much, we will allow you to abuse us up until the moment we are done. And then it's over with. So if he's still in front of you, you still got a chance. But just understand, if you wait to that moment where he's gone, that's it.
I'm sorry, I was late with the hand claps. But man, you said a lot of profound stuff, man. But one thing that I want to really point out specifically was that you said there's this saying that women would sacrifice
Their
their
family
family
for
for
the
their
happiness
happiness, and men would sacrifice happiness
for the
for their
family.
family. You know, I think that was perfect. I'm not saying that that's true, but I would say we do see a lot of cases where women are sacrificing their family for their happiness. There are so many surveys that are made. We just did one yesterday, went over
Right.
it yesterday, where women's biggest concern is their happiness. But when you talk to men, that's never a concern. You never hear men express that I'm just trying to be happy, or I left because I wasn't happy.
Right.
Yeah, I wish y'all would have saw his face when I said that. It just doesn't even sound like a man to say, I left my family because I wasn't happy. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but I think that's a good thing to leave, with our audience, that what women don't know about men is that we will sacrifice our happiness for our man. That's why April said well spoken. Yes, he that was, and Miss Barber said nicely says good point. It was, man. It was absolutely astounding. Um
I
Hand
did
clap.
want to chime in one thing before you close us off is that so I hear a lot of times talking to young women that there's a concern, and this was fed to you by somebody around you, by the TV, that they have to protect themselves. They have to get so set up, so established, so that they can protect themselves from being just left out in the dark by a man. Here's the reason I bring that up is that if you get you a man of character, more often than not, you're gonna leave him, not the other way around. And so if the men are leaving you, you're the common denominator in that.
Hmm.
So that's just something to kind of think about.
Nick, if you watch it, you can't keep just leaving us up in here because
Gonna get us in trouble.
nah, man, it was a good show. Like everybody's saying, it was a good show. I think it was a very needed conversation. I'm looking forward to hearing what the woman would say um on that matter. But women, back to the needing the man leaving his family.
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean leaving his happiness, putting up
Sacrificing his happiness
sacrifice. There
for
we
his
go.
family. Yeah.
Sacrificing his happiness for his family. So you, when you find a man who's mature enough um, to marry you,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that he's this kind of a man, this is something that you need. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is something you need because back to I hate the independent thing. I hate it because statistics shows us that you need both parents to raise a child,
Mm-hmm.
right? That child need both parents.
Right.
So what is we also know that we are social beings.
Mm-hmm.
So we are truly never independent. That
Right.
we really shouldn't say that, you
Right.
know, but I believe that that phrase independent was plotted just to destroy us because you really you never heard men say I'm the independent because a man wouldn't have even thought to say I'm independent. I don't think a woman actually thought to say that themselves. I think the term was actually plotted in our communities to destroy us.
Oh no, absolutely. I can't remember which comedian it was who said it, but he said that several hundreds of years of slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, none of that could break us. In the end, what they used to actually break us was government assistance in letting women go to college.
Right. Right. And when you say that you're independent from, you know, a man, then you're basically saying that a man is no good. He's only good for money.
Mm-hmm. That's really the only thing you could be saying with that, because to say that is basically to kind of condense the man to such a small thing that he could be discarded. But and I think it really only works because women tend to be more self-focused than men are. Like as
Mm,
men, we couldn't think of women that way
hmm.
because we have our daughters, we have our mothers. So there's always a certain level of importance and
So
you know what I'm trying to say.
when
But
you
yeah.
when you say women tend to be more self focused, do you believe that's a trauma response or do you think it's a nature thing?
No, I think it's a nature thing, and it's because they're more focused on people and they are a person.
So Miss Barber asked a good question. We got 2 minutes left on the show. I want to I want to ask her this question. She said, "Do you think that men like to be independent too?" I know.
um so I think in many cases men are independent out of necessity, not out of preference. So you'll tend to see men like the Ronins. A good example is like Ronins were samurais without a master. They were basically lost people. They just kind of wandered around. They were kind of almost treated like scourges. Whereas a samurai was the exact same guy. He just served a king, so or an emperor. So in many cases, men are also independent, or well, men don't really refer to it as independent, but if you were going to say we were operating on our own, we do that more out of necessity than
Thank you,
necessary preference. I
thank
can
you.
function on my own. I don't need to have someone else, but that's not my chief desire. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm actually happy you cleared it up because I was like independent. I better not hear no man saying he independent. No, men. So men don't like to be independent. I will first say that. Do men find themselves in a place where people deem as independent? Yeah, a lot. Yeah, but do men like to be independent? If you're saying like, do men like to be able to say, "I'm paying my own bills"? Um, yeah, I would say, uh,
It's only a flex because I got to do it.
what? Huh?
It's only a flex because I got to do it.
Is it a flex?
I'm. Why else would I say it? Like, do you go bragging to somebody that you can pay your bills?
Right, right. So
But it is also 7.
right, so men don't necessarily think about
Did you
the
hear what I
fact.
said?
What'd you say?
It is 7 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it is.
But right as you get ready to get into it, I
Yo,
just want you to know.
yo, I
And
don't
thank you,
know.
Mickey Minnie, for letting me know. I gotta get this set up. I'm not used to being on this side of the table, throwing all of my optics off. I think in terms instead of hitting the camera, I'm looking at my phone. So
Yo, I think we have to do a part two. But we definitely
oh
gonna get the women in this though. But we do have to do a part two. But it is 7 o'clock. Um, but I wish I could say, keep my music. Yo, we about to have the most abrupt ending because we don't have no music up in here. Y'all, we gonna have to get Nikki Talks back because
yeah,
black women.
this is what they talk about. He got married, can't even operate. We can't do
Yeah,
it without
see,
Nikki.
I need you. I don't want to be independent. if you watch it, look at me. Look at my eyes. I look tired. I don't want to be independent. I'm not independent. But black
Oh,
women.
okay.
Oh, and are we closing?
Oh no. She was yes. We need to close, but I got you. I got you, Mickey. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. I thought we had some breaking news.
No, no.
All right, black women, as always,
We
we
love
love
you.
you. All right, until next time. And oh yeah, and
Nikki's part. Till next time. We love y'all. We
black men,
appreciate y'all.
the black women love you too, because we
Yeah.
can't we we
We not
can't
about
say
to do
that.
that.
But
Well,
and black child, you're golden. We can say that.
there we go.
Until next time, we love y'all.